Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Linda's Creative Boutique. I'm so happy to have you join me in this new series. If you saw the title and if you saw the video prior to this one, I announced that I am starting a Mixed Media Monday. Yay! So Mixed Media Monday is going to be about that, mixed media. And so I wanted to start off by just kind of being basic with you all and starting off, so I got ink or something on my hand here, but I wanted to start off with, I lost my train of thought, with inks and everything about inks. Now today I'm not going to do any type of like stamping or anything, but I just want to go over the basics of inks with you, just to give you an understanding, especially if you're new to crafting. You might, have a question like, what do I do with this ink? How does this ink work? Like, can I use this on this paper? How will it react on that particular paper or that surface? So that's what Mixed Media Monday is going to be all about. So, as you can see here, I have some stamp pads here, ink pads. And as you can see, they're all different types. They're various companies, but they pretty much do the same thing. Now I'm going to start off with these inks. These are considered dye inks. And a dye ink is an ink that actually dyes your paper. It does not sit on the top like a pigment ink, like it's which I'm going to cover in a bit, but archival inks, the Distress ink here by Tim Holtz, the Momenta, all of these are dye inks. So they actually dye your paper. Okay, so I just want to start off first talking about the Ranger archival ink pad, and I have a little sheet over here. I'm just going to read a little bit. These are permanent on many surfaces. You can heat set them on glossy surfaces. They don't bleed. They're great with water-based inks and markers, acrylic paints, watercolors, inks, Tim Holtz Distress markers, and more. They are waterproof and they're available in a variety of colors. So as you can see here, the Ranger archival ink, this is what the pad looks like. Okay, this is the black, this is the blue, cobalt, it's called cobalt, and the pads look the same. These also come with re-inkers. So, well, no, I take that back. They don't come with the re-inkers. You can buy the re-inkers separately because they will dry out over time if you don't, use them a lot. So you just get your re-inker and just re-moisturize your pad, and then you're good to go. So the Ranger archival, they come in this size, and they also come in the smaller sizes. And this one is called watering can. This one is sepia, and then we have a deep purple right there, and they're pretty much the same, just in a smaller version, and the lid comes completely off. Okay, that's Ranger. Then we have Momenta. These are both Momenta, and this one is Summer Sky, this one is Tangelo, and this is a little variety pack that you can get, and they're called Dewdrop inks, and this is what the pad looks like. Okay, that looks like it's probably like moist in the middle. And then these are the smaller dewdrops. They call them dewdrops, and they come in different colors, and this is what they look like. Okay, and as you can see, this was one of the items that I purchased from Hobby Lobby when they were marking the inks down 75%. So let's see, I was trying to see if it listed the colors. I don't know which one I pulled out of here, but this looks like it's maybe a green, like green hues. So that's that one. And then we have the Tim Holtz Distress ink, Salty Ocean, and this is what this looks like. And you can kind of see that the pads almost look the same. Okay, So those are your dye inks. Okay, now we're going to talk about pigment inks. And these are pigment inks. Pigment inks stay wet. So you can use embossing powder over them to give them a shine. You can use a clear embossing powder. Okay, so pigment inks, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about pigment inks. They're slow drying, which makes them ideal for embossing. They're water-based. They're formulated to stamp on absorbent papers and ideal for embossing and blending on coated or non-absorbent papers. So these are pigment inks. And these two are the same. These are the Memento Luxe. This one is called Love Letter. This one is called Wedding Dress. And these have more of a spongy type pad. It's more like a sponge. And they look like they're still pretty, got a lot of life left in them. This one is Versacolor. Okay. And see, that has a sponge-like pad. And then this is Stampabilities. This one has a sponge-like pad. And I'm looking at the pads, and they look like they're really juicy. So just looking at the pads in these, because they're sponge, looks like they were made to actually hold this pigment ink better so that it'll stay wet for you. Unlike the dye inks, they look more like a cloth. Okay. Then we have next our chalk inks. And these are our chalk inks here. Now this one right here, I've had this for a long time. And I've actually thrown some of them away because when I did a clean out, because they had dried out. But these are also like a foam pad. So these are what I had left. These are called Cat's Eye. They're called Color Box Fluid Cat's Eye ink. And it looks like a cat's eye. Okay. And these came in various colors. And I put the colors on the bottoms of them, but this is all that I have left. I don't even know if they sell these anymore, but I just hang on to these because I have those left. Okay, so these are chalk inks. These will give you like a chalky finish. All right, this one is by Color Box, and it's called Huckleberry, and it's like a purple. And this one is Versa Magic, and it's called Night Sky. Okay, so that's your chalk inks. And like I said, we're gonna as I use these, then we'll do a little bit more. I'll talk more about them and how they work, and we'll stamp some stuff and show you some things like that. But right now I just want to kind of give you a basic just a foundation of the different kind of inks that are out there. I'm sure there are probably more than what I have, but these are what I have, so I'm sharing them with you. Okay, these right here are what I call my specialty inks. We have Versa Fine, we have Versa Mark, and we have Stays On. Okay, Versa Fine, which is this one. I love this one when I have intricate images that I need to stamp out, because it's really, see how fine that picture is, how clear. That's exactly how your image will stamp. I love Versa Fine. Like, I have a couple of these on hand, and these are more like the cloth as well pad. But the Versa Fine, it provides extremely fine detail on stamped images, and ink pads last longer than regular inks. They won't bleed, they're waterproof, and dry instantly on matte cardstock. They're compatible with tumble markers, watercolors, and more. Okay, then we have Versa Mark. Versa Mark, it's a slow drying sticky ink, provides a colorless watermark type image on paper. Let me just show you. It's clear, so it's going to give you like a watermark. It's not going to give you a color, but if you know what watermark is, you'll understand what that'll look like when we stamp that out. It's perfect for embossing, either with colored powder or clear for a tone-on-tone look. Also great with chalks and pigment powders. Then we have StaysOn. StaysOn comes in a lot of color. A lot of these inks now that you used to be able to only get them in black, they're starting to expand on the color, so you can get more colors now. So this is StaysOn. StaysOn is a solvent-based ink that is permanent, and it is permanent on non-porous, slick surfaces like metal, glass, and acetate. That's what I like to use these for mostly, is these when I'm stamping on a non-porous, slippery, you know, a slick surface. Okay, it says slick surfaces like metal, glass, and acetate. Not recommended for use with Copic markers or for children's use, because it stays on. So if they stamp on your furniture or your walls, you're gonna have some time, you know, trying to get it out, because it stays on. It really, the name says it all. Stays. It stays wherever you stick it. That's where it's gonna stay. Okay, but they do have a StaysOn cleaning solution to use on your stamps. I do have that, and I will use that on my stamps to clean them. And let me see if I have it handy. If it is, I'll pull it out and show it to you. Let's see here. Okay, I can't put my hand on it, so it's out of my reach right now. But they do have a cleaner that you can use to clean your stamps. Okay, it won't clean your furniture and stuff, but it will clean your stamps off. Okay, and then we have last but not least, we have the oxide. We have these are also specialty inks. I consider them specialty inks. Okay, we have the oxide, then we have the distress embossing ink, and then we have the these are like they have one out that's called clear. It's embossed clear, but it's a pigment ink that you can use for embossing. Okay, so this is one. This is by Stampabilities, and this also has the sponge-like pad. Okay, and it's clear. And one of the things I meant to tell you starting out was that if you're unsure about an ink, you can always look on the back or somewhere on the pad. They're going to have ways that you can use it, and they'll have the color. Like this one has the color at the top here, but you can always look on the back of the ink pad. Okay, and you'll have your information there. The Distress Oxide inks, these are water reactive dye and pigment inks. So there's dye and pigment, and they oxide, and we'll get a little bit deeper into that when we use them. They create an oxidized effect when sprayed with water. You can use them with stamps, stencils, or you can use them direct to your surface. They're non-toxic and acid-free. You can blend using ink blending tools and foam. And again, you know, there's the information on the back. Okay, so these are oxide, and these have the cloth-like look pad. Okay. All right, this is the Tim Holtz Distress Embossing ink, and this was created especially to use with Tim Holtz Distress Embossing powders. They're designed to give a weathered vintage look when used with distress powders, but also suitable for use with other embossing powders. So you're not just stuck with, you know, buying his powders. You can use them with other embossing powders. And again, it's clear because you're going to use this for embossing, or you know, any other technique that you want to use it on. This one right here I've had for a while. This one it's a two-tone embossing ink pad, and it has the black on one side, and it's by Ranger, and the clear on the other. So you can have like one pad over here where you can stamp, you know, with black ink, and this is what am I trying to say? Okay, so this one, it contains 2 separate pads filled with black and clear slow drying inks developed specifically for embossing. The raised surface allows for the use of large rubber stamps when it's a big size. While its big size is great for brayering to create embossed backgrounds. And then they have instructions right here on how to use it. But I love this one because it's a 2-in-1, so you can do, you know, if you want to do clear embossing, or if you want to do, you know, emboss something using black ink, this is that pad for that. And this one is also a foam type. Yeah, if I can get it back open. It's foam type. Okay. And so these are like sticky inks. Like these, they're like sticky. You know, they stay wet for a while for you to do embossing. To use with embossing. Okay, now since we're talking about embossing, that's all that I have for inks right now that we're going to talk about. Embossing. You might be wondering, what is embossing? Okay, embossing powder really is you kind of get that one. Move some of this out of the way so it's not interfering so much. Okay, so here are your embossing powders. Now I have these little containers that I purchased from Dollar Tree that I pour my embossing powders in because it's easier to use. And embossing powder it's made from finely ground up plastic, and when you put it on your surface, you would use your sticky ink, or you know, your pigment ink, okay, and you'll sprinkle it. And when, like I said, I'll show you the technique when we get to it, okay. If you don't already know how to do embossing, this is mainly for those who are pretty much new to crafting and you don't understand what all this stuff means, or if you've been crafting for a while but you just haven't really delved into using inks and things like that. That's what this video is for. Okay, like I said, I use these, and I usually have like a wooden spoon that I use to put on my project, and I also have a stand, an embossing stand that I bought from Hobby Lobby that was on clearance, and I will show you that when we do embossing. But it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so this one right here is called, it's by Wow, and it's Iridium. And so is what I did. I took my label maker and I just, whatever the type is, I put the brand and then the color it is, and then I just put it in these containers to make it easier. This is what they normally will be in, these little jars right here. And of course, you know, it's kind of hard sometimes, you know, when you're trying to emboss, you know, and then you got to try to get it back in the bottle, which, you know, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But these are some that I bought during the sale, Hobby Lobby sale. And this one right here is called Garden Patina. And this one is Orange Tinsel. Okay. Now this right here, this is the ultra thick embossing powder. Ultra thick embossing powder is best used for larger stamps, but it can create very unique effects on all stamping projects amongst other uses. Just be creative. I actually used this to create, I have this shoe mold, and a couple of years ago I did an event for the ladies group that I'm over, and I made everybody like a stiletto shoe using this. I just melted it, poured it into the mold, and then I put their name on it, and I think I put a little glitter in it. I end up breaking mine, so I tossed it. Otherwise I would show it to you. But yeah, so I made that using this ultra thin. So like the possibilities are endless with using the ultra thick. So it can be used for a lot of things, as well as you know, embossing. And these are large particle emboss. It says large particle embossing powder. Create layered effects for added texture. Okay, and then they have the instructions back here. Adult use only. So and they have more instructions here to use it, or if you want to add layers to something, it tells you how to do that. But that's the embossing powders. And just to, you know, show you a little bit of how I store mine and things like that, I just want to share that with you. And so now we're done with this. Now, for those of you who are subscribers, I put together something really nice for you. Oh, and one thing I forgot to say, with your embossing powders, you will need a heat tool. And there are several on the market, but I'm going to show you the one. I'm going to show you one. Well, I have two. I have this one, the embossing heat tool by Paper Studio. That's Hobby Lobby. And then I have this one, which I really, really love. This is the Milwaukee. And I like this one. Now, this one probably is better for embossing because it won't blow your powder around because it has this little casing on it. But this one right here heats up. It gets really hot, and it melts my powders really fast. And so a lot of times when I'm embossing, I'll emboss from the back of my paper to kind of melt it, especially like if I'm using like this tinsel right here, because this tinsel will fly. As soon as the air hits it, it'll fly. So I will sometimes, well, not sometimes, I'll heat that from the bottom, and then I'll go to the top. Okay, so you'll need your heat tools. So these are the two that I have. This is the one I started out with when I started crafting, so I've had this one for years. And then I got this one maybe about 3 years ago. Okay, but I wanted to tell you that if you are a subscriber, and this is a good part. This is the good part. If you are a subscriber, I created something for you that you can use, that will help you with using your inks, okay? And it's kind of a guide, and I'm going to give you just a brief look at it. And that's one page. That's another page. That's another page. And this is the final page. Okay, so is what I'm going to do is, if you are a subscriber, you will get this free. I mean, as a gift. Not free, because I'm not charging for it, but you will get it as a gift. And it'll be something that it'll be a tool that you can use, that you'll have on hand. If you're getting ready to do a project and you don't want to go to your ink pads and read each one, what is this for, or how do I use this? You can just pull out your guide and say, okay, I want to use maybe pigment inks today because I want to do some embossing. So then you have your guide and you'll know which inks to go and pull. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you if you are a subscriber. However, if you're not a subscriber, I would like for you to join our crafting community over here at Linda's Creative Boutique. We're going to be doing a lot of fun things coming up, and I'm just really looking forward to sharing it all with you all. But if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a video. Now, the important part, if you didn't watch my previous video, which I advise you to do, but if you did not watch, make sure that when you subscribe that you make your subscription public. You will have to take it off private, because if you leave it on private, I will not see your name. I will not know that you have subscribed. And I really would like to share this with everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I really want you to have this, because I think it'll really be beneficial in your crafting, and as you move forward with trying out different mediums and things like that in your crafting, different inks and learning different techniques and things like that. I really feel like it will come in handy for you. So go ahead and subscribe and click the notification bell, ding ding ding, and make sure you are set on public and not private, so that I can see that you are a subscriber. Okay, and that's going to wrap this video up. I thank you all for your time. I thank you for subscribing if you are a subscriber, and I also in advance say thank you to those of you who are planning to subscribe and that are going to subscribe, okay? So until my next video, you all take care of yourselves and be blessed. Bye.